and good afternoon, everyone. My name is Dane Albinger, and I'm the Director of Vendor Performance here at Alps Controls, and we just want to welcome you back to our Solutions Series webinars. Today, we're actually joined by LumenRadio, specifically to show off their solution to Wireless BACnet. But just a couple of housekeeping items before we get started. Number one, just want to note that all the solutions that you're going to be seeing here today from LumenRadio are available for same or next day shipping, as they have full inventory here in the United States, so keep that in mind. And also, throughout this session, this is going to be an interactive session. So for Q&A, there's actually an interface at the bottom of your viewing window labeled Q&A. And it's intuitive, so if you click right through that, you could be sending questions actually throughout the session today. So no need to hold on to them for any means. Feel free to put your questions in for the session, and we'll go ahead and we're going to be addressing those at the very end. So without further ado, want to introduce you to Carl with LumenRadio. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dan. It's a pleasure being here together with the team at Alps to talk to you about wireless BACnet, no cables, no problem. I will start sharing my screen to see if we get some action going. And I think it's just amazing to see so many of you, and I hope I can get a feeling where of in the US you are. So feel free to start already now in the Q&A. Write your questions and think about what you want to hear about. And I guess for many of you, LumenRadio is completely new. Dane, if I'm not wrong, we have a raffle. Should we talk about that before we start, or we'll take that in the end?
Sure, let's throw it out there. So at the very end here, we're gonna talk a little bit about how you're actually going to receive a notification for it, but there is an evaluation bundle with a $600 value that we're going to be raffling off to one lucky winner. So more to come on that in a little bit.
Awesome. Very exciting. So we have something called an evaluation kit where basically you guys get to test wireless BACnet straight out, and one of you are going to get one for free in the raffle. So I'm very excited about that. That's one lucky winner can already start tomorrow, but as they say, same day or next day shipping all across the state. So it's amazing which logistics they offer here at Alps. So let's get started with wireless BACnet, no cables, no problem. I want to kick off and like some helicopter view, and then we get down to the detail. It's something which I call jet on our dashboard syndrome, and as well as some overarching industry challenges. And when I talk about yet another dashboard syndrome, it's this, a lot of promises around LoRa sensors and AI and energy efficiency. And then suddenly the real estate owners ask like, but hey, where is the energy efficiency of this? We just measured stuff. And then suddenly the LoRa sensors fell off because they're battery driven, and, it's just a chaos down there. So I want to ask you, how do we tap into on real energy savings with limited retrofit budgets? Because the main challenges we have now is a lot of projects struggle with funding and cost increase. Inflation is just skyrocketing the past 2-3 years, and even more lack of skilled staff, particularly installers. It's just hard for many to find the right people at the right place. And of course, the high pressure on reducing energy and cost of operation is, of course, present there as well. But I think the most important one is lack of skilled staff, particularly installers. And I think we have a solution which might help you getting jobs done faster with higher quality, we hope. So we will going to talk about when and how is wireless a good solution, who saves time and money, and why does LumenRadio's wireless work, with a hint of Star Wars, of course. And then we will end up with a get started checklist. So enjoy and follow along. So just to get started with how does wireless BACnet work? What is it? And we will talk about wireless BACnet is a very simple technology. It's BACnet in, BACnet out. That simple. And you could see here in this picture, you have an Niagara-based controller, but it could be any type of BMS controller that speaks BACnet, right? And it's the BACnet MSTP trunk you put next to our gateway, and then it wirelessly meshes through the building. In this example, it's simple I/O fan coil units connected to more intelligent smart thermostats, such as the TC300 or the TC300. And then on the rooftop, we put an optimizer as the rooftop unit example here. And in this building, we added a repeater on the second floor to showcase that you can actually repeat the signal. That is how it works. Very simple. And I think it's important to understand also that our wireless devices do not add to the device count in Niagara. So we are a transparent wireless bridge, which means in Niagara, you won't see us. And for some people, that is scary. So that's why we created this mobile app, which is the secret weapon of our installers, where we want you to understand the site better and see that the wireless is actually doing what it's supposed to be doing. You could also find things like if you have a broken BACnet MSTP device, you will see that immediately. Furthermore, if we come up with updates, for example, right now we have some issues where larger files is very hard to transfer over the network. We've been working hard on it for the past months, and we're in this testing in and evaluation phase to see if we can release that very soon. So we have full support for larger file transfers as well in the near future. That will come for free as a firmware update. So that's an example how we continuously improve the product and make it easier for you. Hopefully, when you do the job, you won't even have to do a firmware update. It's plug and play out of the box. And I hope we can share some good examples now. And I want to share 4 industry examples. I see now in my own slide that I didn't prepare the change from a school to a university. So I will talk more about the school, but we did a really good university campus project together with Alps, and I want to share that, but I see that I didn't update my slide. So I will mostly talk generically about that. But then the second example I will give you is about the heritage building. And the third example is how you can do 1 week's work in 3 hours. But let's kick off with, I think, the most common, saving large amount of money and doing larger projects with our type of technology is where you would have a fan coil unit or a room controller. It could be a hotel, it could be a school. In this case, it's a beautiful hotel in Austin, Texas, Lakeway Resort, where they had 40 fan coil units across all the 6 floors. It was impossible to do drilling, and on top of that you couldn't have tenant disturbance, so you needed a very flexible solution. And they've actually tried other wireless technology before, and it was depreciated by the previous vendor, and they needed some new solution to control these fan coil units. And that's where we came in, and they were very satisfied because they reduced the installation cost with 90%. These type of examples we do see a lot in schools as well, and with Alps we did a university campus where you had, I think it was a couple of 100 room controllers all across the campus in different buildings, where it's easy to split up each BACnet trunk into a separate wireless BACnet network, which is just so nice that you have that flexibility that you can do large scale projects. And we would love to talk to you with that, and of course Alps will help you navigate you through those projects as well with drawings and those kind of things. So we're here to help you when you have those massive projects coming in. Moving on to the heritage sites. This is one of our first projects in the US, the Starlet Lay building in New York, where they had these LoRa sensors I talked about in the beginning. The problem with the LoRa sensors was that their gateway didn't talk to a BMS, and the BMS was in the basement. The gateway had BACnet MSTP on each LoRa gateway, but those 15 LoRa gateways were spread across the entire building, and it's impossible with tenant disturbance, especially on some critical floors where they couldn't be at all. So our solution came very handy for them to put out 35 devices, which means we added 20 repeaters and 15 devices hooking up to this entire network. And that's just saying that our wireless will not go miles and miles, but it goes quite long distances, and 35 devices covering 2.3 million square feet. That's still a lot of coverage in a very scarce network. It's not an ideal network because we like more dense networks, because that's how the nodes can help each other in a cool meshing. But we actually got this to work, and again, tough buildings, heritage buildings, we have no other options. we of course excel and have the right products for you to do that. Moving on to the third type of examples we have is what I call the rooftop unit case, where in this case it's a luxury residential in Jersey City, but we have done plenty of what I call suburban retail. You have this, light commercial bank, or you have a medical office building, or any type of building where you have rooftop units. It's everywhere, right? And to do the wiring here is very labor intensive. They estimated 1 week for these 6 rooftop units, and these guys probably quoted half a week, and they got the job done in 3 hours. Imagine what that can do for your business if you can be enabled to do more jobs in less time, meaning that utilizing your installers more efficiently is definitely something that will get you to have a really versatile tool in your toolbox. Just to summarize the use cases we talk about when we talk about wireless BACnet. That's the room controllers. I gave this as an example with fan coil units, but then again, VAVs and fan coil units is a perfect example where we excel and shine. This is actually a courthouse here in Sweden. And then the rooftop units, which is, I would say, the bread and butter right now of the business we're doing with, especially Alps, where you have these rooftop units where you have 6 units here, 6 units there. Maybe you have 2 units in one building and 4 units in another building. To get across that street, our technology is an enabler for that to get those sites going. So I've given you some examples how you could use wireless BACnet. Let's dive into what we actually mean with that. So I usually talk about 4 different personas in the chain who can benefit from wireless BACnet. The first one is actually planners and estimators, because you want to make a bid on a building and you want to make sure that there's no hassle around it, right? So actually, the estimators that have been successful with our technology have come back to us and said, this is hassle-free quoting now. Because in the beginning, before us, they always had to count with, it's like dynamic wiring time. I'm not really sure. How thick is this wall? What is this wall made of? Have they lead paint? Do I need an environmental permit, etc., etc.? So, it can be very painful just planning and estimating a job, and it takes a lot of time. And maybe you leave jobs on the table because you don't have enough time looking through it and bidding on it. So with our technology, when you know and found your way through, it's quite easy to, navigate and do a bidding which makes you comfortable. For the installers, of course, saving a lot of the wiring time. In this example is 70%. Previously, you heard about the Texas example with 90%. We see typically somewhere between 50 and 90% reduction in the installation time. So imagine what that can do for your business and being more effective on sites. And finally, I think the system integrators have the most value out of this because it can be, a dynamic installation. And when I mean dynamic, one example we have seen is if you have an old, let's say, university campus doing lawn, and the lawn controllers are getting out of date and you don't have a replacement, and you do have a beautiful twisted pair, but you don't want to rip out all the room controllers the same year, then you can actually take the first 5 and do wireless BACnet on those 5. And then next year you do another 5 and then another 5. And then once all the room controllers are replaced, you can hook them up to the trunk if you want to, or you can continue doing wireless. So this is a way where we see the flexibility where you can expand the trunk in a very, very fast and efficient way. Another example is where you basically do your cabinets, let's say rooftop unit cabinets, where you do pre-commissioning at base and then send them out to your national accounts. That's also a very efficient way of doing flexible installations as well, because you can prepare the wireless BACnet networks in-house, power them off, send them out to your subcontractor, and then just put them on power on, and they will find the network themselves. Finally, I want to highlight for property owners and municipalities out there, school districts, administrative buildings, all type of buildings, right? Today, they are hesitant about connecting their smaller sites because investing in a Jace for every building might not make sense from an energy efficiency point of view. But if you do have a Jace nearby, which you want to connect, or let's say you do have an Ethernet port somewhere in the smaller building and you can connect BACnet IP, then you put a simple BACnet IP to MSTP gateway and our device next to each other, and suddenly that smaller building on the larger campus is now connected. We have seen several universities doing this for, smart metering of gas, water, electricity, all type of metering projects, where they just hook them up to a BACnet IP network with a simple BACnet IP to MSTP gateway. Another view of this is, the labor versus part cost, right? Where you have wired, you have a high number of installer cost, and the part numbers is cheaper. And then you go wireless, you add our devices, of course, that increase the parts, but the total job for especially the property owners become a lot cheaper. So that's just what I want to highlight. I've been going through now for the past, 15 minutes talking about different use cases where you see wireless BACnet out in the wild. And the next part is what makes LumenRadio our secret sauce. I do encourage you all to continue ask questions. We will answer them in the end as well. So I'm very excited to hear all your questions. So why it works? What is our secret? I like to bring up Coachella. The Music Festival 2012 had an idea that all these big entertainment lights should point at the main stage at the same time. And the only way to do that before LumenRadio was to pull very long, expensive DMX cables all across the festival area. And they found us and we found them, and our founder that made the patent, he was very confident that we would be able to do this. And then they came back to us and said, but wait, AT&T have free Wi-Fi. You're on 2.4 gigahertz. Will that not disturb the Wi-Fi? So AT&T came with their lawyers and said, we will sue you if you disturb the Wi-Fi. And of course, our founder was very calm and really trusted his own technology, and it did work. And after that, we became a de facto standard within what is called wireless DMX or CRMX. And of course, 4 years later, Disney Studios built in our technology into the lightsabers of Star Wars. We'll talk more about that scene in the second part of this webinar series, which is called Master the Force of Wireless Control in Building Automation. So I would love to talk more about Star Wars, but that's an cliffhanger for the next part of this series. But what is the secret sauce? What do we do that others don't on the 2.4 gigahertz spectrum? Because I know a lot of you might know about LoRa, sub-gigahertz, can go long distances, but you have very limited data rates, so you can't actually do BACnet over it. You can't do controls over it. Maybe you can do simple measurements, but on 2.4, that's where the bandwidth is to do something. I mean, that's what BACnet IP over Wi-Fi is. We frequency hop 100 times per second all the time. In Europe, that gave us the allowance to send at 10 times the radio output power as Zigbee and Bluetooth. But in the US, we can even go higher than that. So there are methods to go a really strong output power, which of course brings the distance. We talk about line of sight where the antennas see each other up to 1,500 feet or maybe even longer in good conditions. Normally we talk about a reasonable range between 500 and 1,000 feet outdoors, while indoors we talk somewhere about 150, 200 feet somewhere if there's only dry walls in the building. In the steel city of Pittsburgh, you have a lot less because there's a lot of steel in the walls and the roof. So that was definitely given a test in the Alps controls office in Pittsburgh. I always love a good challenge. But what then does really help is the meshing technology, right? Where you're bridging between different devices. So if you have one wireless device next to each VAV, the VAVs are basically meshing with each other back to the Jace. That's exactly what we did in New York in that skyscraper, where you have 19 floors and the node on the 17th floor, it was jumping back to floor 14, floor 11, floor 8, floor 5, floor 3, and then boom, down in the basement. So it's a very effective method to cover an entire building, which, for example, LoRa can't, because they are a star network that can't mesh really. Finally, I would like to highlight the easy setup, what we do. Our technology do not require a network technician. Our technology do not require you to call up the facility manager and the IT manager of the property owner and ask, oh, what's the facility Wi-Fi? How can I get in here? Oh, you're not allowed there. You need an IP address. Those days are gone. Easy setup is our keyword. And we work with we're very simple dip switches, which basically means you don't need a laptop, you don't need a mobile app. We do have the mobile app to help you, but you don't need it. So that's really a convenient way of getting started. I just wanted to highlight the cognitive coexistence and how it could look like. So I was talking about all these Wi-Fi channels. You see those in orange here and in gray here, and one more over here. And the dark red here is a Zigbee network that is currently being blocked by Wi-Fi channel 11. So maybe you tried a project during the building phase, you installed Zigbee, it worked, and then suddenly tenants move in and it stops working. What our technology do is that we jump between all these channels all the time, 100 times per second, and finding the right path where you actually have the strong signal to send. Furthermore, on the meshing technology, I talked about how the VAVs mesh between each other. This is a more, maybe more intuitive image where you see the VAVs here, where they jump between each other all the way back to the center of the building or wherever you have it. So the more dense mesh networks are, the stronger they actually are. It might sound a bit counterintuitive, but mesh networks work better, stronger. However, we do have limitations in network sizes, and we will come back to a handy checklist what makes sense and not make sense. And a shameless plug, Honeywell have integrated our technology into their connected power sockets, as well as Prolon Tricon have done it. And there's also a Canadian company called Greystone, which do Greystone Wireless, which all have connected their wireless product range is using our wireless technology. But to land on the finalist in the building management class of AHR Innovation Awards 2025, LumenRadio's Wireless BACnet replaces the MSTP cable. We have 2 form factors in stock by Alps in the US for same day or next day shipping. We have wall mounts and we have DIN rails. It's a very intuitive idea of, if you're putting on a wall, you put a wall mount in. If you put it in a DIN rail, you buy the DIN rail. The DIN rail also have the benefit that you can replace the antenna. So when you need to get out of an electric cabinet, because metal is the enemy of wireless, and you need to get that signal out of that metal cabinet. So that's why you need a DIN rail where you can replace the antenna and put that antenna outside of the cabinet. Both of these 2 units can be used as gateways. Both of these units can be used as nodes, and both of these units can be used as repeaters. The Pro version is for the node side when you have more than one BACnet MSTP device next to each other and you want to daisy chain them. So the Pro version, you can have 4 BACnet MSTP devices daisy chained to one wireless node. And in a network, you can have up to 100 wireless nodes, but we do recommend for, a proper BACnet network that uses controls to keep it to 25 BACnet devices on that wireless network. Above that, it's a bit, wonky. You will have harder time getting a stable, fast network. We're working on making it stable above 25, but we're not there yet. So I'm just trying to be transparent that wireless is not a silver bullet. It will not give you super fast speeds. It will not give you infinite range. We have quite decent range, and we have a quite reliable product that works up to 25 BACnet devices in one wireless network. I do encourage you to test our products, and that's why we have this evaluation bundle, to test the range, to test the quality of the line, to see what you can be enabled to do. So coming into the checklist, I already talked about, the design of the network. I mean, how do we do the hotel project or the university project or those kind of projects? Well, you split them up into many trunks, just like you would do in a normal controls installation where you have maximum 32. The new rule of thumb is maximum 25. You can go above that. As I said, you can have 100 wireless nodes, but you will have to have in mind that you cannot pull as often as you would like to, and you have to play with the ADPU size of Niagara, etc. So my strongest recommendation, keep the network sizes at 25 or below, and you will be very much in the good zones. And it's worth thinking about, do you have several units nearby each other? You can then use a pro node to daisy chain those units into one wireless node then moving on to the location, because this is where, the wireless part starts to become the interesting. Indoors, outdoors, drywalls, brick walls, metal. How does the environment look like? I usually say like boiler room is the enemy of wireless, but we still make it, right? If you need to get out of that boiler room 20 feet away, our solution is very, very good for that specific example, where you have the AC in the boiler room and you cannot drill through that wall and you need just get on the other side of that wall. That's when you can use our technology for sure. If you're going to plan a bigger building, please let Alps or us help you navigate the first building so you get the hang of, if you need repeaters or not. My recommendation at, a 200 unit project, add 5 repeaters in your back pocket. If you don't need them, you don't need them. It's better to have those 5 repeaters ready on site when you do that job. And remember, metal is the enemy of wireless. We do have an assortment of accessories which you can buy through Alps, which is the outdoor box, which have a finished antenna on top. It has power supply. So basically you only need 110 volts. And of course the MSTP cable getting in there, and then you have everything that you need. We do also have a much stronger antenna, which is only allowed in the US compared to Europe. And that one you put on a roof with a special mounting, and that goes, across an entire campus. If you need to go that 1,500 feet, for example, we can help you figure out the best way of doing that. I've talked a bit about the range as well. And of course, what the walls are made of. We do have a calculation tool on our website you can download and get ballpark distances. My final slide is to just remember for you, Wireless BACnet evaluation kit is for you to test this technology. It is stocked locally by Alps in the US, so you can get started. It's 1 DIN rail and 2 wall mounts. If you really want to do a site survey, bring a drill battery and power one of the wall mounts and walk around to see where it ends up, basically. So that's my strongest recommendation if you really want to take our technology for a spin. Put a drill battery on one of the devices and walk as far as you can to see when the range stops, basically. All right, I hope we have gotten a lot of questions. I am super excited for the Q&A now.
Hey, this is Alan Lopazinski, the Director of Marketing in Alps Controls. Thanks to everybody who has shown up for this event today. We're excited to get through some questions. We have a whole bunch in the queue, so we're just going to go ahead and get started. We have someone who wants to know, what is the difference between LumenRadio and Zigbee Wireless?
Perfect question. I love that question. So the LumenRadio Wireless BACnet is a proprietary technology that we have developed in Sweden, and it's basically based on cognitive coexistence, 2.4 gigahertz, have stronger output power, and we do mesh in a much more intelligent way than, for example, some Zigbee networks do out there. And of course, Zigbee, lower output power, fixed channels, much fewer channels. So that's just a short of what the difference between LumenRadio and Zigbee is.
And we have one person who wants to know if LumenRadio supports BACnet IP.
I love that question as well, and many people ask that. We do not support IP to IP traffic. We do continuously monitor how we could make that better. Right now, Wi-Fi is a solution on the market. I know a lot of people are not satisfied with that. So of course, we're looking into how we could make that in a reliable and strong way. But as of now, we don't support that.
Adam Shellhammer has a question. Actually has a handful of questions in here. We'll try to get to them all, Adam. His first one is, I don't see an outdoor rated NEMA 4. Is this something that could be an option in the future?
Very good question, Adam. Thank you for asking that. I must say the European to American conversions of NEMA 4 and IP, I'm not 100% sure of, but we do have an outdoor box which is called IP67. I do believe it's quite close to the NEMA 4 demands. Basically, IP67 means it can be submerged up to 30 minutes. We do have it. Maybe we can share the SKU later on. It is on LumenRadio website for sure. Let's make sure that it's all also available to go through your Alps account as well. But feel free to reach out to your local Alps rep, and they will for sure help you get that outdoor box if needed. So the end user products per se is not NEMA 4, but we do have that outdoor box for the Dane rail with an outdoor antenna as well that is very strong and powerful. So we do have that NEMA 4 similar box that is called IP67.
Michael McDonald would like to know, what is the lifespan of this product?
Very good question. Right now, we're in the world of electronics, so we need to be conformed within the 15 years of normal electronic lifespans. Next generation product we're developing right now, we're looking into how can that be extended beyond, right? How can we be better than the cable? But right now, I would say the typical lifespan should be 15 years, 15 years.
Does LumenRadio support other RS-485 protocols like Modbus?
Oh, I love this question. Exciting. So yes, Modbus R2 was actually the first one we did. So wireless Modbus do exist. I do believe Alps have a small stock of that as well in the US. Of course, that's our best seller in Europe, where Modbus is bigger than BACnet. So here in my home turf, Sweden, we do have a lot of wireless Modbus installations and larger hotel installations with Modbus as well. But of course, if you have that weird boiler with Modbus, just hook it up with wireless Modbus. It's as simple as wireless BACnet, if not even simpler. So we do have that as well.
Okay, Adam Shellhammer's back with another question or two. He would like to know if he can have multiple wireless networks. For example, he has a Jace with two RS-485 links, and he makes them both wireless. How does he know what network to be a part of once he adds the nodes?
Very good question. I like this, Adam. Very smart, intelligent questions. So you need to configure them one network at a time. So you start with one trunk on port 1, and you hook it up to the Jace, and you hook it up to the first gateway, the first physical LumenRadio gateway. And then you install those nodes. You go back and you go to the Jace and you put Discover on the BACnet Explorer. You see all the devices you need. Great. Then you can lock the network. Those devices will go offline again because the network is rebuilding. And when they're coming back online again, then okay, they're secured, they're in the network, and you have all of them there. Great. Let's take the second trunk and put up the second gateway, make the RS-485 to that gateway, and put that one in commissioning mode and commission the rest of the nodes. Make sure they get in by Discover in BACnet Explorer, and then lock the network. If you do want to use our mobile app, I do encourage you to do so. That's when you've done the first network, you push the button 3 times to activate Bluetooth. You see in the mobile app, all my devices are in. You can even see the MAC IDs in the LumenRadio mobile app. And you can even export a PDF report to see okay, in my first network, I have these 20 devices with these MAC IDs. So we do have a very convenient tool for you to know I've commissioned the right devices in this. You can also manually decommission a specific node, but you need physically to be there and press a specific button pattern to do it, just so nobody randomly decommission your nodes.
Okay, you may have covered this a little bit in that answer, but Gabriel Maze wants to know, is it one node per controller, or can you daisy chain the communication from one node to more than one controller?
Very good question, Gabriel. So on the gateway side, you can have an existing daisy chain up to 50 BACnet devices already. Of course, you should not have too high if you're having controls loops going on. So, but that's on the gateway side. On the node side, you have a one-to-one relationship. If you buy the Pro version, you can have 4 devices daisy chained to one wireless node. So if you have, for example, 4 optimizers in one electric cabinet, you buy a DineRail Pro, you put it in that electric cabinet, and you daisy chain those 4 to that DineRail Pro. If you only have one optimizer, you have one DineRail to that optimizer. Same if you have, let's say, 4 room controllers nearby, you daisy chain them to one wall mount Pro, for example.
Tyler Nauf would like to ask, how does this theoretically save so much installation time on VAV installs if you still need to get 24-volt power cables run to each VAV anyway?
Very good question. And in that sense, if you need to pull power cable as well, and you need to pull the daisy chain cable, I do understand why you think this might be not an ideal solution, right? But in most cases, what we've seen retrofit projects, right? And there you typically already have 110 volts around the corner. You might even already have 24 volts because you've already planned for the previous VAV that, let's say, was an analog VAV. And now you want to have a communicative VAV. So I do understand for every use case, it might not be intuitive. We see definitely for sure new builds with new construction. It's easy to run power and MSTP in the same time you do it. Then I understand why people say you don't save too much with LumenRadio's wireless. But in most cases where you have retrofits, where you don't have a twisted pair cable and you do have power, you save a lot of time. And then, I mean, if you do have an electrician in the team that can do 110 to 24, then you would save a lot of time, I would say, because it's quite easy to just put on a 24-volt transformer.
Randy Stockfish would like to know, are there any device quantity limits both on the wireless side and the RS-485 side?
Very good question. I brought it up a bit in a presentation, but basically the wireless nodes is maximum 100, including repeaters and devices, nodes with devices connected to them. However, if you're doing controls with BACnet, you should keep it to a limit of around 25. We are not blocking it in any way. So what you would experience if you go too many and pull too many of them and you have broadcast storms all over the place, it will be just sluggish and just slowing down the entire BACnet network. What you would need to do then is to break it up into several networks, as I explained for Adam's question, that you have multiple trunks instead. One way of getting through that is that you can have Pro nodes where you daisy chain 4 BACnet devices to one wireless, which limits the amount of wireless devices that needs to communicate all across the board there. So my rule of thumb is 25 devices for a 5-second poll rate. That's usually a good rule of thumb.
We have a whole ton of questions still in our queue, so we will try to get through as many of these as possible. Joseph Dunleavy asks, could you elaborate how the DMX system worked with LumenRadio?
Awesome. Great question. I'm not a DMX expert, but our entire company is based on DMX and the love for entertainment lighting. So basically, wireless DMX is very simple. You have DMX in, DMX out, and you have one transceiver and you have many receivers. So basically, if you have a DMX device already today, you can buy a retrofit product called Moonlight or Moonlight 2. And you have a gateway such as, the Stardust, Aurora, or Luna. They are not distributed by Alps. They have had an exclusive contractor in the US for many, many years. And of course, Hollywood is the biggest customer of that. So basically, any DMX light you already have, if it's an architectural installation or if it's an entertainment installation, DMX in, DMX out. And actually, the DineRail has a sister product which is black. So if you want to join the dark DMX side and the Star Wars guys, it's called Galileo, and it's basically Galileo TX next to your lighting controller and Galileo RX next to your armatures. So that was a quick rundown on DMX.
Adam Feather cleverly packs several questions into one. Good for him. Good job, Adam. Here are his questions. What is the baud rate of this product? Is it limited to tritium? And what is the typical square footage covered, assuming implementation is in a standard office building?
Wow, I love all of these questions into one, because now we're getting into, master the force of wireless control webinar. So, but baud rates, we are baud rate independent. So prepare your brain for something new. But on one BACnet trunk, you can have multiple baud rates. I know, this is crazy. So basically, one node can have 9,600 baud rates. You do a local baud rate setting on that wireless node for 9,600. On the Jace and anything else, you put 38.4 like normal. And the gateway will propagate that baud rate to all the wireless nodes. We just released in 332 auto baud. So each node can auto baud with its local BACnet device. So we run all the baud rates without any issues. And the crazy part is it can be different baud rates on different, because baud rate is cable dependent. We reduce the cable, so you can mix baud rates in one trunk. And sorry for always talking about Niagara, I should stop do that. We do JCI, we do reliable controls, all the brands we do, right? We are brand independent. We are wireless bridge according to the BACnet standard. So we are a part of the BACnet community. We go to plug fests all across both Europe and the US, and we're actively part of anyone that speaks BACnet MSTP.
Eric de Groot would like to know, what is the price of 2 of these devices?
Very good question. I would say the best thing you can do is to log into your alpscontrols.com account and check the price there, or ask your Alps sales rep. I leave that in the full hearts to the Alps guys to give you more precise pricing. But, to give you an hint, the evaluation raffle we're giving out today, 1 Dane rail and 2 wall mounts, is valued at $600. So that's give you a ballpark numbers what you could expect out of this.
Maria Morales has a question that I could probably answer. She wants to know if they can get a copy of this presentation, and the answer to that is yes. As soon as this is over, we will have a recording of the entire presentation, including all the Q&A. We will do some gentle editing on that and post it to our YouTube channel, the Alps Controls YouTube channel, within the next couple of days, and we'll also make it available via our newsletter this May. So that's a yes. Should the gateway be a pro node when there are several nodes or pro nodes?
Very good question. The gateway never needs to be a pro node. That would be a very expensive solution for you. So you buy the normal wall mount or the normal Dane rail as the gateway, and you set the dip switches if it's a gateway or not. You can use the pro nodes as gateways, but it's not worth your money. So buy the normal ones as gateways, and then in the network you have pro or normal nodes depending on how many devices you need to daisy chain to your device.
Can each of the gateways communicate wireless meshed together?
So the gateways are separate, having their own mesh networks. So both of these 2 gateways work in parallel, meshing on their own frequencies. That is our clever patent, right? That we can jump between frequencies all the time. So one gateway has its own network. Once you've set that gateway and locked that network, you could commission another network, and that would then set up its own. And they live in parallel, not with each other. And if they're actually not connected to the same controller on 2 different trunks, then they don't even know existing of each other. But if they're both connected to the same building management system, of course both trunks then are connected to that system. But as far as the wireless part is, they are completely isolated.
Eric Westerman would like to know, are there any future devices like wireless space sensors for temp and or humidity, CO2, and occupancy sensors?
Very good question. What we do is provide wireless technology and give you the Retrofits products. Then these wireless technologies we are actively talking with the OEMs, such as the one mentioned in this webinar many times, JCI, Honeywell, Distech, all these guys. And my hope is that they realize that our wireless technology is superior, and they would like to integrate the radio module into those devices. There are smaller players that have started integrating. So there are room controllers right now with Wireless BACnet. They have just come into the prototype phase and are starting launching. Given they are small and just starting, they are not represented right now in the US in a good way, but our sales team is helping them, reaching out to distributors such as Alps to get them represented, because that means a room controller already have Wireless BACnet inside, and you don't even need the wall mount next to it. So there are already room controllers with temp and humidity that do have Wireless BACnet, but they are not yet represented in the US. We do also have in Europe a lot of wireless Modbus room controllers that are available. They are also looking into going into the US as well. But for now, they are not broadly available in the US.
Marcelino Tia would like to know, does LumenRadio have separate BACnet device IDs from the MSTP devices?
Very good question. We do not. We are a transparent wireless bridge, which means you do not add to the device count in, for example, Niagara. So if you have a license-based model where the devices count, our devices do not count because they are not BACnet devices. They are just a wireless bridge that bridging the existing BACnet devices in the network.
Paul Mandeville would like to know, would proprietary BACnet RS-485 controllers, such as Schneider Electric Easy Logic, be fully configurable when utilizing this wireless technology?
Very good question. We have done tests with them, and in a very, very limited network, it did work. In larger networks, it will break apart as of right now. I just want to be very transparent with that. Bigger file transfers, when you're sending images and configuration files, that is currently breaking down. We have a beta version we tested at the European Plugfest. It is not yet released. We still want to be sure that we can deliver on that promise when we want to deliver that promise. So we are actively trying to make our wireless technology best in class and be able to do, when you have those proprietary file transfers like Schneider one, we do want that to work, but we need some more testing before we release it. When we release it, it will be for free via our mobile app. It's a simple Bluetooth update to the gateway. The gateway will update the nodes, and boom, you're done. So as of now, you need to do the configurations locally, maybe on wire or in a small network, and then put them out where they need to be, because the bigger file transfer as of now is not working as we want it to do.
Jeff Woods would like to know, do you provide any engineering assistance or custom installation diagrams specific for a project?
I would say shoot Alps and ourselves a question, and we will get you started. And then let's see how much engineering resources you need. We are here to help. I want you to succeed with your product. So we are definitely here to help you and support you with the engineers we do have.
I believe Carl mentioned a mobile app for programming. Is this app available for phone, tablets, PC, Apple, and Windows?
Very good question. It's a mobile app on Apple App Store and Google Play Store. It's for free, so you can use it on any Google tablet or any Apple iPad, an Android tablet or an iPad or an Apple iPhone or on any Android phone. Unfortunately, when you use it on Mac, it doesn't work. I've tried with my own. It's designed for being, the installer's tool in the field, where I would rather pick up my phone than picking up my laptop. That's just my experience from field, and I think you others will appreciate that as well.
Bill Schisler asks, if used in a high-rise building, how many floors can the signal go through and still be stable?
Very good question. That depends. The general question would be typically 2-3 floors. In the steel city of Pittsburgh, in the Alps office, you go 1 floor. Very simple. But if you need to go more floors, you could think about it in a smarter way. Maybe you have a staircase where you have, air a free line of sight air, and then you can buy the external antennas that you could tilt in the direction of the air, which means you can go line of sight completely vertical instead of horizontal. And that's how you, for example, get from a basement to a roof without too many repeaters in a high rise. But normally in the, for example, the New York building, the Starlet Lay building, they had repeaters on every third floor in a staircase, because that staircase still had a lot of metal. So it's not just plain sight down. So you need one every 3 floors when you do have enough air like a staircase, but you don't have free line of sight in that staircase.
Here's kind of probably a similar question. Andrew Gay wants to know, what is the max thickness of concrete that the wireless signal can penetrate?
So, military bunkers is a tough place for sure. But you are able to go through them. And the thickness of max concrete, I haven't measured exactly, but you can for sure go, maybe 10, 20 feet of concrete before seeing issues. But then you really need repeaters on each side, just next to the wall. But this is why you buy an evaluation kit, because then you can try yourself and get back to me how thick of concrete you've managed to go through with LumenRadio.
Omar Benegas wants to know, how many gateways can I have in the same RS-485 network?
I would recommend to keep it to 1 gateway per RS-485 trunk. We do have users that have more trunks, meaning more gateways on the same trunk. But my strongest recommendation, keep it 1 wireless network per trunk. But you can do more wireless networks on 1 trunk.
We have one person who wants to know, is a repeater the same as a node device without a BACnet device attached to it?
100% correct. You can have both the wall mount and the Dane rail as repeaters. Basically, you will connect them as anything else. You need still 24 volts of power. That's for some a drawback. So it's good to know you still need those 24 or 12 volts DC to get it to work. But you can use both the Dane rail and the wall mount. So the Dane rail is very handy when you're on an outdoor campus. Then you buy our entire outdoor box with a power supply unit and a 2 dBi extra antenna, and then you have a very strong potent repeater outdoors where you can put wherever it's suitable, basically. So both the Dane rail and the wall mount can be used as repeaters.
Harry Klauser would like to know, we have a very sensitive client who does not allow Bluetooth. Can Bluetooth be disabled? And is there an option for the product without Bluetooth?
Very good question. I do recognize we have a lot of sensitive clients. Bluetooth is per default always turned off. The only way you can turn on Bluetooth is by physical access. And the Bluetooth can only be joined with the LumenRadio app. Of course, if you hack our app, then you breach the system. The only thing you can do in our app is to monitor the network. You can't disable the network and those kind of things. And unfortunately, we do not have a version that is disabling Bluetooth completely. I would love to hear your use case where you completely would like to disable it, but it's always off by default and you need physical access to turn it on.
Can JCI devices be configurable and programmable, accessed through LumenRadio wirelessly?
Very good question. So if JCI is using BACnet MSTP to configure and program the controllers, in theory, yes. As of now, the file transfer limitation we have right now is making it hard to do that. So hopefully in a very near future, I would say no problem. Right now, I would say you would see challenges. The best way to know is to get the evaluation kit and test out with a JCI controller, and do actually go quite a distance. So you see that the range is in the shaky regions, and then you do the file transfer. Then you will know for sure. Hopefully we can support it with confidence in a very near future.
In terms of networks, what is the security level of the connections?
Very good question. Our network link layer is AES 128 encrypted, so that goes up to the NSA standard. So the only security risk you have at commissioning. And in commissioning, all wireless BACnet devices in the nearby that is not commissioned can join that network. So if you need a secure installation as of now, you need to be in a secure room where you know nobody from the outside can come in. Maybe going back to that concrete question of safe room without interference, then you can do a commissioning. We do, however, look into a Bluetooth app, which by physical access give you a more secure way where you don't have that commissioning mode broadcasted all over the wireless space as of now.
Just a couple more, I think. Mark Spangler would like to know, can you show an architecture of a system with multiple VAV controllers?
Yes, I can. I don't have it in my slides, or actually I did have a small example. It was the courthouse in Sweden I was talking about, where you have the building management system in the basement, and then on the second floor they had repeaters, and floor 3 to 8 they had 4 VAVs per floor. So they had 1 pro unit per floor basically, and they daisy chained 4 VAVs to 1 pro node per floor then. And then in the building management system in the basement, they literally just pulled all the data from all the VAVs. So that's, I would say, is a very common setup where you have only VAVs on one trunk. You can also have room controllers and VAVs on the same trunk if you want to. It's just about how do you set up your system. So I hope to answer questions a bit. I do encourage you to look out for Master the Force of Wireless Control, where I will talk more about these type of things. How do you design a VAV network and those kind of things?
Martin Dion wants to know, can it be installed in an outdoor unit at very low temperatures, minus 30 Celsius?
So officially, our products are supported in operational mode down to minus 20 degrees Celsius. They can be stored at lower temperatures, such as minus 30. So I cannot say anything else than minus 20 degrees Celsius is the official outdoor temperature acceptable. I do live in Sweden. We do have minus 30 degrees here as well. But officially, it's 20 degrees.
Is LumenRadio BACnet BTL listed?
Oh, my favorite question. So wireless BACnet cannot be BTL tested because the bridge in the SSPC 135 standard have no tests defined. So you cannot test it according to the BTL standard. I'm actively engaged in this committee. I actually hired the president of the BACnet committee, Coleman, in February. So Coleman is our US engineer. He's close to Alps in Pittsburgh, and he's actively working with me to figure out how do we get this device potentially BTL certified, because I know some of you really care about that a lot. And as of now, we cannot be BTL tested, and there is an interpretation request officially on ASHRAE website where I asked this question and got an explicit answer from the committee saying, no, you cannot BTL test it as of now.
Okay, that might be about all our questions. There's a couple repeat questions in there that I think we probably covered. But I'll tell you what, I will ask Dane and our sales team to glance through any unanswered questions, and they will follow up with anybody who they can provide a more detailed answer to. And as I said, we will post this presentation on the Alps Controls YouTube channel. And if there's additional questions that come in that we can answer on that video, we'll do that as well.
So thank you again, everyone, for attending. Remember, all the products that you saw today, this whole presentation, can all be found on alpscontrols.com for placing orders. Our team and customer experience team are standing by to actually help you with selecting products, quoting, project needs, you name it. So please feel free to reach out. We're happy to help. On top of that, just want to mention again, for the sake of the raffle, giving away a $600 value for that evaluation kit. We're going to be actually posting the winner in the next few days via email. So check your email over the next few days. We got a long weekend coming up here, so probably early next week. So thank you again for everyone who attended. Please follow up if you have any questions, and thank you for joining.